In the lush gardens of Canterlot Palace stands a statue of a beautiful earth pony mare holding a harp. Its beauty, however, is not what sets it apart from the other statues in the garden, both old and new. While the rest gaze forward into the future or down upon the ponies in judgment and comfort, this one does not. This exquisitely crafted statue looks up in wonder into the night. Many an observant pony wandering through the garden has noticed this striking difference and pondered, what is this mare's story? This is her story. The story of a mare who loved the night above all else. A long time ago, when Princess Celestia had beaten Nightmare Moon and the city of Canterlot was young, there lived a mare who favored the harp as her instrument. Every night the mare practiced and aimed to perfect her craft under the pale light of the moon. The soft tunes of the harp's strings played by gifted hooves, filling the evening. One night, a noble returning home from a concert heard the mare play and trotted to her side, gently applauding her skill before asking,
"Young lady, would you desire to share your musical skill and perhaps perform for my garden parties?"
The mare nodded shyly as she replied, her voice barely a whisper.
"I would love to, good sir, but I only offer performances in the evenings."
The noble stallion agreed to those conditions and gave her a small card with his address on it. With that, he promised that he would find a spot for her in the schedule of events, and that she had to come by one of these days for further details. So the mare went to his mansion, and the parties involving her were scheduled starting the next week. So the mare slept and did some work during the day, but every night she returned to the spot where she met the noble stallion, seeing as he and other ponies now frequented there more often when the mare basked in the moonlight and played her harp diligently. Unknown to most, the mare had a reason to prefer the night. She was shy and just felt better in the cool evenings instead of the very busy and very bright day. Yet she was determined and always worked hard to socialize with those ponies that sought her out. But the more important reason was that she had admired Luna before the Alicorn lost her mind to sorrow and was banished to the moon. And if asked why she only played when the moon was out, she would simply answer,
"So she won't be lonely."
After some time, the noble stallion returned to her on the first day that she would perform, and she followed him to the grand manor he lived in to start her new career. Over time, her fame increased, and the mare came to be known throughout Canterlot, earning her invitations to even greater events. And finally, she got invited to the most elite happening known in Equestria, the Grand Galloping Gala. She had waited for an event like this to reveal and play her magnum opus, a song so haunting that it became known as the Tears of the Moon. because not one pony, not even the radiant Celestia herself, could listen to it and be unmoved. When the princess came up to the mare to praise her song, she asked her what the mare's inspiration had been. The mare smiled up at Celestia and replied passionately,
Your sister is my muse, Your Highness, and the song was meant for her.
Princess Celestia was speechless with admiration, a tear rolling down her alabaster cheek before she asked the harpist,
Is there any way that I can reward you for your devotion to my beloved sister?
The mare thought for a second and nodded, answering softly,
I wish to be granted permission to play my harp in your royal garden on the evenings that the moon is full, Your Highness.
And from that night on, the mare would make her way to the gardens every full moon and play her song into the deepest hours of the night. Celestia laid awake at those nights just to listen to the tender, sorrowful melody that touched the hearts of those that fell under its spell. Yet, one such night, the princess was watching the mare play in her gardens, perfectly graced by moonlight, when a sudden shudder ran through the harpist, and her instrument fell silent on the song's last note. As the silhouette of the mare quietly slumped sideways into the soft summer grass, Celestia uttered a horrified gasp. As quick as her majestic wings could carry her, the alicorn soared towards the fallen harpist and took her up in her hooves. Sadness filled her as she saw the young mare wasn't long for this world, and gently caressed her sleek mane, asking softly,
Tell me, little pony of mine, can I do anything at all to make your coming journey more peaceful?
The mare smiled weakly at the princess and moved her lips in a quiet whisper.
Remember me, Your Highness, and if Luna ever returns from her exile, tell her that she was loved despite what she thought.
Then she closed her eyes with a final shiver and went to slack in the alicorn's embrace. Celestia turned her gaze up and watched her sister's moon with misty eyes.
You shall be remembered, sweet mare, and I am certain that Luna knows you did.
The mare was naturally buried in the gardens, and during the ceremony in which a beautiful statue in her likeness was being set over her resting place, there was a sudden lunar eclipse, and from the night sky, bright stars fell like tears. Celestia merely looked up and nodded.
You know.
There was no doubt that her sister, too, mourned the passing of the mare, who loved the night above all else.